I'll start. Okay. I'm Annelie Landgren.
I'm Emma,
I'm Elizabeth.
and our dog's name is Ellie.
So yeah, I can say that I have wanted to have a dog for a very long time. I grew up in my late adolescent my parents had two dogs and I really liked it. But it's hard to have a dog when you're working long hours and nobody's home. So we waited for a long time, and then
As soon as I moved out, you thought it was a great idea.
yeah.
One animal out, one in, right? You
Yes,
gotta do that.
we were substituting Emma for the dog. But anyway, so we were actually dog sitting, and we liked it, and I liked it a lot, and we were inspired by this other dog, Freya, and all of a sudden I walked by at an adoption event, and Ellie was there just looking at me with big brown eyes, and yeah, it was like she chose us.
It was actually really funny. Emma and I were home, and I get a text message at like 10:30 or 11 in the morning, and it's her, and she's just like, "Oh, take your sister and come to Petco right now." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, I need you to bring Freya and Emma, and there's a dog here that I'm thinking about adopting."
My name is Paloma Bolazzi, and I'm a volunteer for Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation. I volunteer at the back table, often just called the table, and it's where we process adoptions when people adopt a dog.
Okay, it's my turn. My name is Edith Chan. I'm also a volunteer, and sometimes we're serving as volunteer supervisor. And my functions at Lost Dog is the same as Paloma. I help on the back table here to process the adoption paperwork.
We are a very people-friendly organization. We're dog and cat friendly, but also people-friendly. So I like to think we have an easy adoption process. And we want to make sure that the right dog goes to the right family, and vice versa. So we are a same-day take-home rescue. So you have to take home a dog or a cat the same day as an event. There's no home checks, is what I'm trying to say. You get an interview. So a potential adopter fills out an application, gets an interview. It's about 10 or 15 minutes. If you're a good match and you pass the interview, then you are lucky enough to come back here and you fill out some paperwork, which includes a Petco form, a lost dog contract, the health acknowledgement form, and then you pay, and then you can take the dog home. And dogs and cats have a 2-week trial period. You can return a dog or a cat within 2 weeks and get a full refund. After those 2 weeks, Lost Dog will always take a dog back or a cat back, but the adopters won't get a refund.
I mean, initially I was helping out because my son, when he was in high school, he need to learn the credits of volunteers. So then I also come here with him because he was not older than 17 years old. So since I was here every week, and they think that maybe they can also use my time better, so they train me to how to do the back table. So since then, I become the permanent or long-term volunteer here, helping the table. As long as I'm free, I'm available on Saturdays.
I started volunteering because I wanted to become more involved with a dog rescue. And it just so happened that Rockville was the newest location for Lost Dog, and it was the perfect opportunity because I live very close to here, and Lost Dog is a great organization. I knew about Lost Dog and I knew about the cafe, so I started here. The very first day they set up shop here on Saturday. This was about 5 or 6 years ago. Volunteering means a lot to me. I am here every single week that I can be here. I feel that we've become a family. I've learned a lot about dogs, and without volunteers, we couldn't get these dogs adopted.
My name is Rebecca Edelman. I am a dog handler, I am a transporter, I'm an interviewer at our adoption events, I'm a supervisor at our adoption events, and I foster dogs. I tend to take in the senior dogs, the small seniors, so I specialize in them and the really scared and the shy dogs, the fearful ones. I have dealt with everything from Chihuahuas to Chow mixes to Great Danes to hounds. So, any age, any size. The shy ones are very hard to adopt because they won't go over to people and initiate. They won't ask for pets. They'll usually, well, some of the really shy ones will actually hide during events. And those ones are very difficult to get adopted because no one sees them. Well, there's some dogs like Susie here who had a little bit of an unfortunate situation where she was bitten by another dog. I think it was before we got her. And she's still so friendly. She's walking around, she's getting treats, and she's getting pets from people. She's walking around the other dogs, and she's not reacting to them. She's not acting fearful, she's not acting aggressive. And the seniors. The seniors are very hard to get adopted. A lot of people, when they want a dog, they're looking for about age 1 or 2, which we get a lot of those in, but the seniors, people want a dog who's going to last longer. Well, adopters are basically anyone. Adopters could be a 20-year-old person just out of college, just got their own apartment and looking for a companion, to we had one man who was, I think, 92 or 93 years old, and he wanted a companion. He had always had hounds, so he really liked hounds. Right, Susie? Like you. You're a little hound. I don't know. And then the people who volunteer for the rescue are all very kind, compassionate, generous people.
So I'm Kelly. I have been working with the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue for, I don't know, a few months, not that long. I volunteer every Saturday, 1 to 4. I started working here because, honestly, I was trying to get a job over the summer, and I know one of the women who helps volunteer here. Her name is Mrs. Swissman, and so I started working here because of her. This organization means to me that it just means a lot to me that we take in dogs that are from kill shelters. We take in dogs that have been out in the wild, out in the streets, So it means a lot to me that they're here to do that. I've handled a lot of abused animals. One dog in particular, is that okay if I name one dog? One dog in particular, her name was Toodles. She was a Doberman, and she was probably my favorite dog. She was just abused to the worst. She was so badly abused. She, if I clapped or anything, she would just get terrified and run. One of the dogs here today, they got burned. And it just makes me happy to know that we saved dogs from that disaster. We saved dogs that have been abused. We saved dogs that, just on all scales, we saved lots and lots of dogs, and I'm just very thankful that we do that.
Well, my name's Jamie, and I work with Lost Dog, helping to run the table for our adoption event. So I help kind of coordinate our volunteers and the application process for interested families. Last winter, there was a huge snowstorm, and I was out of work for like a week and a half. And so Lost Dog needed to get dogs off of the ranch and into temporary foster homes. And I think my temporary foster really embodied everything that Lost Dog is about. She was brand new to the foundation. She was actually heartworm positive. Her name was Belle. And she was just terrified. It took me a couple days to get her even to let her pet me. And other people were just off limits. She was not interested. She was actually more afraid of my cat than my cat was afraid of her. And why I think she embodies Lost Dog is that over the span of the time that she was in my home and then in her permanent foster's home, she just grew so much, and she really started to learn to trust people. And that's what I think we do, is we give dogs a chance to learn and grow.
Well, when we first start the adoption event, we have to go over all of our guidelines for the volunteers. So we have to tell them, the dogs have been on the van for a while, let them go to the bathroom. Not all of the dogs get along. That's one thing. So we have to make sure they understand that smaller dogs tend to not like really big dogs. Right, Susie? Just basically things like that. And then the van comes, and I unload all of the dogs, and I give each volunteer one dog. And then throughout the adoption event, we have many people coming and going, people who are just looking, they're starting to browse for a dog, or they're really serious and they're looking for their forever companion. And then I do an interview, and a lot of times they get to go home.
And then we made up our mind. We just said, okay, let's do it. Let's be wild and crazy. And so we did. And then we got to speak with one of the adoption managers. And she gave us a half an hour lecture about what we needed to do with the dog. You need to use trainers, you need to do this and that and the other thing. And I was like, okay, yes, of course, okay, yeah, absolutely, we're going to do all that. And in my mind I was thinking, well, not sure if all that's going to be needed, but I have a little bit of experience with dogs, so I should be able to manage.
And then 2 hours later, we brought her home.
So I think sometimes families are shocked that we are a same-day adoption. So a lot of rescues have a process where you need to be approved and then go through home visits. And we do all of our adoptions and interviews at these events. And so I think sometimes people expect it to be a longer process than it is. For us, if someone finds a dog that they're interested in, they fill out an application and then they have an interview right at the adoption event, so dogs can go home the same day. And so I think that doesn't always meet people's expectations, and sometimes they're not quite ready. But I would say that one thing that I see with all of the families that come is that they're just really looking for a great dog to join their family.
I mean, you have to know that a dog is like having a baby. You're going to have to teach it things. It doesn't know any better. And you have to treat it with respect. I mean, that's really all I could think of. I mean, again, every dog is different, every person is different, every lifestyle is different. But there is a dog for everyone. Or two.
Oh my goodness. That is so annoying. Yeah, okay. Basically, for like 2 whole weeks, we were trying to figure out what to name her. And every day we would think of something different and then end up not liking it. And me and Elizabeth wanted to do something kind of silly for the name. Mm-hmm. We tried a lot of different ones. I can't really think of any right now.
Liquor.
Oh yeah, I want to name her Liquor, because she licks a lot. But Mom didn't like that.
Yeah, no, I probably said no to every name you suggested.
Yeah, so basically we came up with goofy names, and she was like, no, it has to be serious.
And then I think I tried to come up with like the ugliest names I could imagine, just to like spite you.
Yeah.
That didn't work either.
No.
I didn't even want them.
Mm.
So basically it was your fault.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
But then we came up with a compromise, because Ellie is short for elephant.
You can address the elephant in the room, which is always convenient, in the morning you wake makeup, and sometimes you just have to do it. It's a little uncomfortable, but you know, you gotta do it sometimes. And at night, you put her in your crate. You can cage the elephant also, which is coincidentally one of, I think, our favorite bands.
So we can tell people that our dog's named Elephant, but
you can also call her Ellie.
Ellie is a serious name.
It's more professional, you know, for when she becomes a lawyer.
Yeah. Or when the very serious mom is walking the dog, you can't like call her Elephant.
Yeah, exactly.
My name is Mia Hiroga-Sluchansky. I have a 14-and-a-half-year-old Shiba Inu. He's a good dog. He's a bit of an acquired taste, but he's good. He is purebred from 2 show dogs, and we love him very much.
Dog breeders. I'm very passionate about dog rescue. So when I hear dog breeders, I just, the first thing I tell myself is there are reputable dog breeders. There are reputable dog breeders. Reputable dog breeders will never sell to a puppy store, to a dog store. I think we have an overpopulation problem in this country. So it is just personally hard for me to justify the continuing of breeding dogs. I think if dogs need to be bred, they can definitely be bred in humane manners, and there are reputable dog breeders. I think puppy mills are a huge problem in this country. They are, for the most part, unregulated, and the regulations vary by state. I think that is where we have an education gap between reputable breeders and puppy store, puppy mill type operations. I think people will be surprised to know that they can get purebred dogs at a rescue. We get all sorts of dogs. People give up their dogs for a variety of reasons, and people give up a mutt just as much as they need to give up a purebred dog. I personally don't understand the desire to have purebred dogs. Every single dog is different. I love mutts. A mutt means there's no other dog that looks like yours. It makes your dog extra special. So I personally don't understand that need. I'll stop there.
Can you tell us your name and what you do?
Mike Noss, and I'm a semi-retired.
All right. And what's your role at the Annapolis Kennel Club?
Just put on shows, basically. We have 2 shows a year. This coming year, they're going to be in October. We don't know. This is the first year we've had it in October. We've been doing it in January, so we don't know what the entry is going to be yet. It's just basically it's a sporting competition between, believe it or not, dogs and their handlers. Who has the best dog? A lot of the handling, your dog might not be perfect, but a good handler can make it look and hide the imperfections in a dog. And all dogs have imperfections, no matter how good they are. Even the ones that win up at the Garden, you might have seen that on television. All dogs have imperfections, and it's a sporting thing to see who can hide those imperfections in a way.
So there are 3 different types of breeders. There's backyard breeders, puppy mills, and there are responsible breeders. Puppy mills are just a ton of dogs in cages, bred against their will, over and over again until they can't breed anymore. The parents of the puppies are not taken care of. They get no health care. Their well-being is not cared for at all. The puppies are just meant to look good and then be sold in stores for high profit.
Actually, I met a girl when I was in 1st grade, which was about 11 years ago, and her dad knew someone who had a dog that needed to be adopted because she was about to move in with 2 much bigger dogs that would have hurt my little Wolfie, and so we checked out the person, we checked out the dog, and my sister really wanted a dog at the time. So it was all sort of perfect timing, the stars aligned, and we got to adopt Wolfie, who's had a very high need for a home. Well, my mom was actually looking at a few pictures of Wolfie yesterday, and when we first got him, he was very frail, very skinny. His fur wasn't nearly as bright orange as it is now. He was very timid. He wouldn't sit or lie down in front of us. He would stand all the time, very odd. And because he used to be kept in his crate for up to 22 hours a day, so he was really shy. He didn't really know how to react around people, but he was always nice. He never bit anyone, still doesn't bite people, but now he's much more open and loving.
Puppy mills are in it for the money, period. Anytime we've bought a dog that we bought for show, we went out and bought it directly from the breeder, and we knew the breeders. And I know I wouldn't trust something where I buy one at a pet shop, because you don't know if you're getting there's too many places on the internet that you can go and search and find out if it's a puppy mill or what it is. You can also go to a dog show and find out things there that you would never believe. All those people, most of them at the dog shows are breeders, and they can tell you where to go if they don't have a dog or when they're going to be breeding. A lot of people buy a dog thinking they're getting one that's show quality, and if you're going to a puppy mill, generally you do not get that. And it depends, like again, what you're looking for. And a lot of times the puppy mills, the dogs will have diseases that you don't know about. So even though that dog deserves a good life, sometimes he's not going to live a good life because of some diseases or hip dysplasia or diabetes or whatever.
Backyard breeders really are new to the game. They don't know what they're doing, and the puppies usually don't turn out very well. They have disabilities or just don't come out to breed standard. And responsible breeders tend to look at the genes, they don't inbreed the dogs, and they generally take care of the dogs, the parents, and the puppies. Right? Yeah.
I'm Isabel, and I have a miniature golden doodle. Her name's Peanut. She's 7. She sneezes when she gets excited. It's kind of weird. It's cute, though. She's the only thing that I like about this entire godforsaken county. She's the only thing that I'll miss when I go to college, and like when I've had a rough day and I come home, she's the only face I want to see. I found her on the internet, actually, because I am allergic to pet dander, and we wanted to get a hypoallergenic dog and one that was like small, so we found a breeder in West Virginia, and I picked her from like a lineup of like puppies on their website. And then we went and drove and we got her, so from a breeder.
My first dog, her name is Minnie Mouse. I got her when she was 1 year old. She's 11 now, so I've had her for 10 years. She's a purebred Cairn Terrier. Oh yeah, I got Minnie from a breeder. Well, my mom did when I was 6, and so she was the runt of the litter, and she was going to be used as a baby machine. But because she was so small and sickly then, she could not have children. So they were going to kill her, but we adopted her. And she's been my little baby ever since.
Alright, my name's Danny. I have 2 dogs. They're both poodles. And both of them they came from breeders. Zeke, who is 12 years old about, came from breeders in Maryland. And Woody, who is just over a year old, came from a breeder in Chicago. I feel like it's really up to the dog owner's, perspective and opinion on where they want their dogs from, or I guess just the type of dog they want. Like my family and my parents, really like poodles because they're like really smart, really receptive dogs, really caring. They don't shed, so we've just chosen to go with breeders and stuff in the past and gotten our dogs from there. But if you don't necessarily have specific opinions on where you need to get your dogs from, then you could probably rescue one, I guess.
I think adoption is always like probably better to do, but like for me personally, just even physically going into the shelter, like I would have such a bad allergic reaction that we just couldn't even like handle that. So I guess if you're like me and you have allergies, then maybe going to a breeder's like a better choice, but adoption's always like a good answer.
The easier it is for the people adopting the dog, the better decisions they can make in either adopting which dog to adopt or in their decision to return a dog. We have a very liberal return policy in that we want, if you don't want your dog for any reason, we'll take it back, no questions asked. We want what's best for the dog, and that means making that decision easy for people.
I guess Ellie had some problems and she's still very like reactive around other dogs. When you're on a walk with her and she sees another dog in the distance, even if there seems to be like nothing, like the other dog isn't barking or provoking her in any way, they're not even close, she'll just go crazy and bark a lot. And she's actually managed to like escape from her leash a couple times and like gone after and almost bitten other dogs. So I guess after that happened with our neighbor, she just like got off of her leash, and she's never hurt another dog. She's never like actively bit. There was like no blood or anything. It was just, I guess she was scared and defending herself or whatever the situation was. There was some like aggressive behavior that we were concerned about, and we considered giving her away for a while because we weren't sure if she would be able to cope with it, and we didn't want her to be a danger to others in the community, especially we have a lot of dogs and children around, and we just didn't want that to be an issue of her like harming someone, and then because that would just be terrible.
I think one thing we would like to actually really address that is that, or emphasize on that, is that we don't usually guarantee the dog whether it is house trained or not, because we get all sorts of dogs.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
The dog's personality may not be known at the time of adoption. So sometimes you don't know what kind of dog you're going to get.
Of course, as the adult of the house, I need to be responsible for anything that happens in my house. And of course, if Ellie would harm somebody, and I'm thinking she was barking at strollers, kids with bikes, kids without bikes, people with carrying stuff, she would just go crazy and be very it sounded pretty bad. And even with my experience of my parents' dogs, when they were like sorting things out amongst themselves, it would sound pretty harsh, but I could still hear that they weren't like trying to eat each other. But I think that Ellie's reaction is a little bit more severe than that. So I was just thinking, I don't know if we can handle this, because if she escapes, even if we are really careful, even if we use a harness so that she can't slip out of the harness, things can happen. And what if she runs out and bites a child? And when I just thought about that, I just thought, that's so terrible. I don't even want to think about it.
You got a dog, when you bring them into the house, you got to feed them, water them, take them for walks, train them to go outside, and so much more. And if you buy a dog for someone, you got to make sure they know what you're getting into and they're getting into, because it's not a small thing. A dog's part of a family. It gets to be a pet, and you lose them, you hurt.
I was very against giving her away because we'd had her for such a short time, and I didn't feel like we'd really given her a chance to, I guess, improve upon that behavior. And I felt like
we'd had her for long enough for her to form an attachment to us and to really like value this place as our home, and we, you know, promised to protect her. I mean, even though there wasn't that verbal communication, I felt like, you know, body language is really strong, especially amongst people and animals with each other, and they do understand a lot more than I guess we realize. So I felt very strongly for keeping her and at least giving her a chance, that I know that these things had happened, and of course it would be awful if she bit someone, but that if we didn't, you know, get her a trainer and try to figure out different ways that we could handle her reactivity, then we hadn't given it an honest shot, and then we shouldn't have gotten her in the first place if we couldn't handle that. So I argued very, very strongly for that we keep her at least for a couple weeks and try with a trainer really, really hard to work out these problems or know how to handle it better. And we talked about it a lot, and we had a lot of fights about it.
Yeah, we weren't really fighting. You were very upset, and I of course, given the amount of other dogs and kids around in this area, it is a big responsibility to have an aggressive dog, and but then when Elizabeth told me, she said to me, we didn't really try. You can't just give her up without trying. And I went to bed that night and I was thinking, maybe Elizabeth was right. Maybe we didn't try.
I think that my dog is a great example of the power of rescue. And I didn't get her from Lost Dog. I got her from another dog rescue in DC. She is definitely a special needs dog. She has some behavioral issues, some fear issues, and I've had her for almost 7 years. When I rescued her, she couldn't even get up from the floor. She was so scared of people. She's come a long way, and she takes medication. I've given her training, and I think it really speaks to the need for a dog rescue organization. My dog came from a shelter in South Carolina. She was transported up to the DC area, as so many dogs are, and she had a need that I felt I could help her with, and overcoming fears and just understanding her behavioral issues. And you know, she may be more extreme than other dogs, but I think she exemplifies the dog adoption process and the need for rescues in our society.
My dog Wolfie has escaped about 3 times in the 10 years we've had him. It's always been an accidental open fence or a little opening in the gate. And he actually has crossed major city streets completely on his own. Just a Shiba Inu running across 6-lane streets with nothing, no tags on him. We like to, he's very fluffy. We don't like to keep a collar on him all the time. And so this dog just runs across with no identification. And then I had a friend who actually found him when we had lost him one of the 3 times, and they thought he was a fox. So yes, he's very, I love my dog, but he does like to play some tricks on us sometimes, like running across Rockville Pike.
I have 3 dogs at home, and I have 2 foster dogs. One of my dogs is a Pomeranian. He's about 15 or 16 years old, and he was only supposed to live about a month. I've now owned him for 1.5 years, and he has a lot of health issues. He recently went blind, and he got a pancreas issue, but he is so lovable, and I wouldn't trade him for anything. I have an Australian cattle dog who was deemed unadoptable because she was fear aggressive, but she is now the most loving thing. She loves every person, every dog. I put in the time and effort, and it worked out well. Hey, come here. There you go. And I have a Bernese Mountain Dog mix, who is the sweetest thing ever, and I am so lucky that I adopted him from this rescue. Because he came house trained and he was neutered, up to their own shots, and he is the most friendly dog ever.
Wolfie is a very complicated dog. He has experienced many different thyroid problems, skin infections, yeast infections, not to get too graphic, but over the years he has been bald in the crotch area and his butt for extended periods of time. It is gross, but we still love him. He takes a lot of medicine. He takes thyroid pills, Apoquil, which is this new experimental drug, and another for his skin problems. We have to wash him at least once a week with special yeast and bacteria fighting shampoo. So that's a fun weekend thing. And yeah, basically Wolfie has defied a lot of odds to be here today.
So I don't have a dog, but I do have a Lost Dog alum who is a cat who thinks she's a dog. Her name's Colby. She's about 6.5. And she is just the best thing that's happened to me. I call her my emotional support animal because she's just so loving, and she comes to the door to greet me each day. So I'm very lucky that I found her through Lost Dog.
Living with a meme dog is very difficult. It has required a lot of patience on my part. There have been days where multiple people come up to me and talk to me about how I have a meme dog. When I first found out he was a meme, my friend texted me and said, "Your dog is on Tumblr." I had no idea what she meant. Turns out Shiba Inus are very funny looking to people, I guess. They're very odd dogs, I think, in their characteristic, in just how they act. They're very, they sort of act very noble, but very silly. And they're a funny breed, I'd have to say. And so, yeah, living with Wolfie has given me a lot of respect for people with less cute dogs, I'd have to say.
Is Elephant here for good? Is she here to stay?
Yes.
Yes. Good.
But I will get an extra family to help me when these kids both have moved out.
Of course.
I've seen all sorts of dogs get adopted. All kinds of dogs. We get all kinds of dogs. That's what I tell people. We get new dogs every week. We get a lot of beagles and hounds because we get a lot of dogs from southern states. So we do have a lot of beagles and hounds. We also tend to have a lot of chihuahuas. We have some volunteers and fosters I know who are really good with chihuahuas, so I know we gravitate towards getting some of those. I've seen all sorts of personalities get adopted. Dogs who are shy, dogs who have major behavioral issues. It really takes the right person, and there's somebody out there for every dog. I've seen a dog get returned 3 times and then find just the perfect match. So it's wonderful when that happens, and it gives me hope that there is somebody out there for every dog. And if they don't get adopted, Lost Dog is their home. Lost Dog will keep the dog and give it a good life.
Well, before I even start volunteers, actually I'm very afraid of dogs. I cannot even touch the dog, and I will try to walk away, avoid the dogs. But I think after volunteer about a week, and I start changing my attitude. And 4 years later, I really love and enjoy have a company with the dogs. Unfortunately, I cannot adopt a dog because we have 3 cats at home, so they are not very dog friendly. But I still remember somehow I have more I don't know attracted to Chihuahuas. A lot of those very somehow very unique Chihuahuas always like to stay with me. So sometimes we even have a special spot right here on the back table. For those Chihuahua, usually are not friendly to other big dogs, and they usually just stay behind with us. I think most of the time, Paloma and me, we try to take care of the dogs that which may not be okay with the crowds or something, that we try to provide a little bit shelter back here. However, we also still hoping even those dogs can be adopted by some adopters that understand about the personality. So that's my personal side of the story, I guess.
I actually, from when I was younger, I was very scared of dogs, all dogs, small dogs, big dogs, and I was small, so all dogs were sort of bigger to me. And as I've grown older, I'm still a bit afraid of dogs, very afraid of getting bitten. My dog does not bite, and he barely barks, so I don't see him as a threat at all. I don't know what I would do without Wolfie. I don't know what I would do without any dog. They're just such a necessary part of a home to me. They really bring everything together.
They're just part of the family, that's all. I mean, once you've got one, they're just family members, just like anybody else.
Every dog is different. I love every dog. Dogs like Susie, I mean, she's going to be the type of dog who you want to go outside, you want to go for walks with. I like the seniors. They need a little extra love, a little extra patience. Every dog is capable of love, though. And it's unconditional, which is rare in this world. Humans don't really give unconditional love. Right, Susie?
If you're looking to get a dog, I mean, do it. You're not gonna regret it. Dogs are man's best friend. When you're having a rough day and when you feel lonely or sad, you can come home and you can look at that dog and you'll know that you made the right choice.
I would start off with, you got to look around, do some research. Yeah, you can come on through. Yeah. I would look around and do some research. The internet's a big thing because you can find out a lot from that. There's, I forget how many breeds there are, but there's many of them. Find out what kind of dog, where you live. If you have a small apartment, you don't want no Great Dane. If you have a large apartment with a lot of space and it's fenced in yards, you can almost go with any kind of dog. And then it depends on what your preference is, whether large, small, whether you want a lap dog, whether you want one that's just going to lay around, whether you want a hunting dog, whether you want a water dog, whatever you want.
Adopt, don't shop. I would
right,
say
yeah.
adopt, especially first-time dog owners. My gosh, go to a rescue because a breeder won't help you.
Yeah.
A breeder isn't going to provide the support that a rescue can. So for somebody who doesn't know anything about where to get a dog, I'd say the internet is your friend. You can Google dog rescues by you. I also recommend going to petfinder.com. Petfinder is like a matchmaking site for animals and people. Go to Petfinder to look up any kind of dog you're looking for that may be within your area. Petfinder it aggregates adoptable dogs and cats from all rescues. You can also go to your local humane society or dog shelter, and they can direct you to places to adopt your dog.
I feel like I have the same view about adoption versus breeding as I do on carrots, which is kind of weird. But if you think about carrots in a grocery store, all of them are shaped the same way. And
that doesn't necessarily mean that they all taste good, right? I know, so it's an analogy, I promise, it's going somewhere. And if you go to a farmer's market where they have organic carrots, they might be shaped really, really weirdly, but they taste really good. So you shouldn't take those, like, outward physical characteristics as only that. Like, the internal content, I guess, of your dog. It's like reading a book, and it's a lot of analogies. Sorry. But yeah, no, that your dog is more than just where they came from, and like they can still love you even if they have certain issues or anxieties to get over.
So I think where to start is just by coming to the adoption events. We're here every Saturday, and so it's a good opportunity to start to get to meet dogs and figure out what you're really looking for and what type of dog is best suited for you. There's no commitment to coming to an event. You can just stop by and start to learn what you're looking for.
Have a loving and open home. Make sure you have the means to take care of a dog. Dogs are cute. They're a lot of work, a lot of responsibility, and if you know you can't take care of one, don't risk it. Don't give it a home and then have to take that back. I think it's very unfair to the dogs, and yeah, but if you can, adopt a dog because they're great.
Pick the one that speaks to you, because when the first time I saw Minnie, we went down to West Virginia to get her from the breeder, and the minute I saw her I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna love you for the rest of my life. And I do. She's my best friend. She's sweet, even though she's a grumpy old lady now.
I guess don't give up. If you commit to it, give it a really, really solid effort. And just accept that your dog won't be perfect in all senses, and one issue might not be an issue forever. It might just be especially in the beginning, it might be anxiety or something that can get sorted out later on. I mean, in the beginning when she came, she was biting on her bed and things, and after a week she stopped completely, and that wasn't a problem, and we haven't really had issues with that since.
Yeah.
So
and she was very nervous in the car, and just last week she changed and she's very calm in the car, so that's good.
So yeah, I guess dogs, they can get comfortable around you and they really do understand when you love them.
I think follow your heart is the most important advice, because dogs are all amazing.
One last thing.
Yes.
You go for
Yeah. I love dogs more than people.
So, just really quickly, can you tell us why?
Dogs live in the moment.
Yeah.
Dogs are just there. When dogs just make me smile inside. I mean, dogs provide me comfort. Dogs just make me forget some of the worries that I have sometimes. Dogs are funny. Dogs are comforting. Dogs are precious.
Yeah, I think I see a dog as not just a dog or animal. I think it's almost like my kid. And the way I cares for them, every Saturday I come in here, I see it as everyone's just like my little kid, and I want to just hug them. And that's how they give it to me in return. When you give the big hug to the dog, they will lick you back by returning to totally lick your face. So I think that's the way how you can feel that why you're so passionate about dogs is they give you 200% love back, and that's why we love dogs.
And one more thing about working here, I have gotten to meet Edith, who's such an
Same
awesome
here.
lady.
Me too here.
And I really love volunteering here. I call it my second job. And I love it.
Same here. Love Paloma.
I personally care about dogs. Because I just love them. They're like a little human. You know, they have a personality of their own. They're like having a child. You know, they're just so cute. And I personally just don't like cats, so I lean more towards dogs. But they're just I just really appreciate them, and I think everyone should appreciate them because they're just amazing pets to have if the family's ready, or if the person is ready to have one. Then they're amazing animals to have.
I care about dogs because I just think they have so much love. Their capacity for love goes so much beyond, I think, humans at times. And I think there's a real therapeutic quality to being with an animal. So I think that other people should care because we have these animals that just have so much capacity for love, and I think we should be able to give that back to them.
I mean, I think other people should care about dogs just because they are such a unique creature and every dog is different. And I think it's unfair how they're being treated in the world. There are so many issues. Come here, Susie.
Yeah, they're good companions all the way around, and if you need a companion, they'll work out as long as you're willing to feed them, walk them, and they'll be your best friend.
I care about dogs just because they're such a good part of a family. They really do bring a family together. I know Wolfie has definitely brought my family closer together. He's taught me a lot of responsibility, which is great. And they bring something new into the home. They're fun, they're intelligent, they're interesting, they're great companions.
Dogs are fluffy and nice, and they'll love you no matter what.
And they're really good encouragement to get outside, which is nice because you get to walk every day.
And it's really nice to have somebody, when you come home, they just missed you so much and they're wagging their tail and they're just so happy to see you.
And some dogs aren't just dogs, but they're also other animals like kangaroos and tap dancers, which aren't animals, but our dog tap dances and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't actually tap dance, she jumps around on plastic, but it sounds like tap dance.
They have many talents. She's also a deer.
Oh dear.
Because she has a sweater with antlers on it. Dogs are cool.
Oh no. Okay. Hi. Who are you?
Peter.
Who are you?
Gracie.
Gracie, and I'm Emily, and this is Susie back here. Oh, she's sleeping. Tell us a little bit about Susie, Peter.
Well,
What kind of dog is she?
a hound.
Yes. She's a hound mix, and we got her from a
Rescue.
From a rescue, yep, from the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue. And she's been with us since just after Thanksgiving, so almost 2 months now. She's a very good dog. She sleeps most of the day, right?
Yeah.
And she gets excited about squirrels.
Yeah, and chewing on stuff.
And chewing on stuff, yeah. She chews on a lot of the kids' toys, which is something that we're working on. Question 2 says, describe the process of adopting Susie, including your motivation and any research we did beforehand. So we had kind of looked around on the Lost Dog website for probably a few weeks. We had seen them out in front of Petco, and we actually saw another dog that we thought would be great. But she got adopted, and so we waited, and we found Susie, and we thought that given her size and age, she would be a good fit for our family.
Yeah.
We did a little bit of research on hound dogs.
And she had puppies.
Yeah, we know that she had puppies. Yeah. We did a little research on hound dogs because we were a little worried about the barking. Yeah. And she does bark sometimes, but it's not too bad. So,
yeah.
All right, Susie's process in adjusting to our home life. How is she doing now? How do you think Susie's doing now?
Good.
Yeah, Susie's doing really well with us. She really, keep your clothes on. We're doing a video here. Keep your clothes on. Okay. Keep your clothes on. She really likes the kids. Yeah. And she sleeps most of the day.
Yeah, and sometimes she wants to shake hands with me.
Yeah, she likes to shake. She was house trained. She's crate trained. She knows some basic commands. We are going to start some training classes with her in about a week or so.
Yeah.
At Doggy Zone in Rockville. Let's see. When we think of breeding versus adoption, we definitely are all about adoption. We think it has its advantages in this case because Susie's a little bit older. And with the kids, we felt like it would be better to have a dog that was a little bit older and not just a puppy. And we also just like the idea of kind of helping a dog that might need a home.
Yeah.
Right? Susie needed a home.
Yeah, and first she had a home, but a different rescue found her.
Yeah, she had a house, and then somebody abandoned her. Yeah, they tied her to a tree, right?
Yeah, and a different rescue found her, and then they didn't have enough space, so they gave her to the rescue at our place.
Yeah, and we would rather do that than buy a dog from a breeder because we felt like we wanted to help a dog that needed a good home, right? Mm-hmm. If we were going to give advice to anyone looking for a dog, what advice would we give them?
I don't know, to find Petco.
Oh yeah, to find the rescue in front of Petco. Yeah. We're really happy with the Lost Dog and Cat Rescue Foundation. They did a really great job. They've been in touch with us to help us with any questions that we have. They gave us advice on how to find a vet, and Susie had all of her shots and she was all ready to go and everything. Yeah. And we would just say, gosh, I don't really have any great advice, but they were wonderful. So we would recommend looking at them. She's just sleeping right now for you. So there we go. Final thoughts on Susie or adoption or dogs in general. We love dogs. We think they're good for the kids. We've read that they're good for allergies and asthma and helping prevent all of that kind of stuff. We also we're a very active family, so we like to have another little adventurer with us. And Susie is a good adventurer, right? She likes to go on hikes, and she really, really likes squirrels. So we do need to work on that because she howls a lot when she sees squirrels. Yeah. So, all right. Well, let us know if there's anything else. Suze, you want to say hi? Is that Susie? All right. There we go.
She was the runt of the litter, and they were going to try to use her as like a baby machine, but instead of that, because she couldn't have dog children, there's a hair in my mouth. Let's try again. There's a hair in my mouth. What is it? This is on film. Okay, well don't show that part. So where was I again?